Yo, what's up guys? It's Tim here, and I have another great video for today on this beautiful Tuesday morning. And by beautiful Tuesday morning, I of course mean that it is cloudy and rainy outside, but since every day is beautiful, can't really complain. Am I right? Or am I right? Anyway, let's get into the video for today. I'm going to be talking about the top metrics that you should be measuring for your metabolism. And this is actually a really important topic because when I first got into all this metabolism stuff, I was dealing with low metabolism for probably 2-3 years. I knew something was wrong, couldn't lose fat, just felt off, something wasn't right, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Started trying to see that maybe it was my metabolism that was the issue, but I had no way of tracking it, no way of measuring to see if I was making those incremental improvements and actually, progressing. I didn't want to spend, 3 or 4 months eating tons of calories trying to improve my metabolism and then be at the same place and be like, well, did I reach the goal, or, did I just take 3 months off and get fat or something like that? I wanted to have those actual metrics so that I knew exactly what was happening. And when I found this main metric, it completely opened my eyes, changed my world, gave me a number that I could look at, a number that would help direct me on my path. And I could, experiment, I could start changing things, playing with the variables, watching what that number does, and seeing if I was making progress, seeing if I wasn't, and all of that good stuff. And I always recommend having, in any kind of goal, having some sort of objective measure, not just, how you feel or something like that. That can be useful too, but you want some number, some very, very objective number, something that you can't argue with, that when you reach it, you reached it. There's no way you can deny it, because it always helps to have that, something that's not mental. It's just very tangible, very in the real world. So what is this magical measurement? You probably heard me talk about this before, and I really think that everyone should be tracking this just because it's so important for understanding what's happening within your body, and that is your waking morning body temperature. In the morning, your body temperature is at the lowest. It's your basal temperature. No activity is affecting it. No food is affecting it. None of those other things. It's just your core normal temperature. And you take that in the morning, you can get a really good idea of where your body's sitting at metabolically. Through the night, if you're getting really, really, really cold, usually it means that your base metabolism is pretty low. If it's staying relatively warm up into the 98 area for underarm, upper 98s for doing a mouth thermometer, if it's up in there, that means your metabolism is doing a lot better. You're probably burning a lot more calories, creating more energy. All your cells can produce all the energy they need to do all the functions that they need to do. You probably feel a lot better, probably have good metabolism, probably able to lose fat and feel fucking amazing. So what kind of thermometer do I recommend? How do I recommend taking it? So I use a simple one like this, just normal mouth thermometer. But instead of doing it orally, because I feel like that's less convenient, a little more messy, I just stick it under my arm in the morning when I wake up. Just kind of sit there for a little bit, let it warm up, take a reading, switch to the other arm, take a reading, switch to the other arm, take a reading, switch to the other arm, take a reading. 4 readings total. And then I'll take the highest one of all of those. Occasionally I'll do 2 extra readings if it looks like I'm still warming up. Maybe it's like the temperature's going higher and higher and higher and higher. Try to take an extra one just to see, maybe it's going to keep going up, maybe it's going to level. You want it to get the accurate measurement, and so that's why you're going to take multiple readings. Now, body temperature is super, super important, but there's actually another metric that helps to kind of show you what's happening, to help you to gauge what that temperature means, and that's your morning heart rate. So when you wake up, I also have a phone app, heart rate, where you just literally put your finger on the camera, it takes your heart rate. It's kind of a rough measurement. If you don't have that app, or you don't want to use your phone, or you want a more accurate thing, you can just do your pulse, hold it here, count 15 or time of 15 seconds, count how many pulses, multiply it by 4. You can do it in the artery up here as well. However you do it, stay consistent with it. Take your heart rate and get a good number that you can track, because a lower heart rate is also associated with a low metabolism. And that's a whole other topic for another video, but a lot of people try to think that when you're in really good cardiovascular shape that your heart rate is going to be lower. But the truth is, if you're doing tons and tons of endurance exercise, you're pounding your body with stress and with lactic acid and inciting that fat-burning glycolytic stress metabolism and starting to shut down the oxidative metabolism. When that happens, your heart rate naturally decreases in the amount it's able to pump out. Basically, your body is lowering its basal metabolism because you keep doing all this unproductive exercise that's telling it needs to shut down. It's in the stress mode. Food's not abundant. We need to turn off the metabolism. Heart rate goes down. In reality, heart rate should be up by like the 80s. In the morning, you should be reading it. It should be up by 80s. In fact, Ray Pete, one of my good mentors, always, or in one video, he talks about how people who were recovering from hypothyroidism would go temporarily hyperthyroid for a month or two at a time, where their heart rate would be up in the 110, 120 area, which obviously is not something you'd recommend doing for the long term. However, he did say that people who do that, who experience that and go through that time, always say that they felt incredible during that time. And that, a lot of that has to do with the fact that your blood's pumping faster, you're getting more glucose and oxygen everywhere throughout your brain, to your muscles, to your heart, your organs. Everything's working so optimally because there's just so much movement, so much energy. It's all good. So just keep in mind, heart rate's important for that as well. I recommend doing both temperature and heart rate. Get both of those numbers and you'll have a good idea. Now, there's one caveat I have to throw in here that's really, really important. And that is the fact that, especially when you're not in the super low stress state or super low metabolism state where stress is high and it's basically shutting down all of the oxidative metabolism and your temperature's down like 95 and stuff like that. If you're not quite down in there, then sometimes you can wake up with an activated stress response. And if the stress response is turned on, sometimes that can raise your temperature. Think of something like exercise, for example. That is a stress that causes your body to ramp up all of the metabolism from the glycolytic to the fat burning and keeps that oxidative metabolism going, and your temperature will go up. But that doesn't mean that your actual temperature, your oxidative metabolism resting temperature is up. It means that you are under some sort of stress, short-term stress that is falsely elevating your temperature and heart rate. So the way you combat this, take readings throughout the day. Get a morning reading, get readings after meals, get readings in the afternoon and the nighttime. And all of that will help to paint a picture for you, because if you eat a high carb, high salt meal that doesn't contain too much fluid and your temperature drops, that means that there was a false elevated temperature from a stress response. The meal shut down that stress and then your temperature went down to what it should have been. Now on the flip side, if your temperature's here, you eat that meal, shuts down any stress you have and your temperature goes up, that means that this was your actual temperature. The stress wasn't elevating it falsely, so that after you ate, all the carbs and all the salts started to activate the oxidative metabolism and raise that metabolism up a little bit. It stays the same. It's probably similar to it's probably somewhere in between, basically. Now, morning heart rate, measurements throughout the day. But in addition to that, there's a last few little metrics that I think are really, really important for just overall understanding what's going on in your body, where your metabolism's at, how you feel and everything. So those are things like sleep, libido, your motivation, brain fog, your strength in the gym, your body weight, and even just a general overall understanding of what your well-being, your overall perspective and outlook on life is. Because when you're in the stress side characterized by that higher serotonin state, you have much more learned helplessness, much more that depression, that inward focus, instead of more of that outward focus, looking at other people, trying to look at the big picture and trying to help everyone instead of just worrying about yourself. And that's more mediated by a dopamine response. When you have more dopamine, you're actually looking outward more. And dopamine and serotonin tend to be kind of counter antagonists to each other. So being too far into that serotonin side with the depression, learned helplessness is opposite from the dopamine side. Now, I know that serotonin is claimed to be the happy hormone. It's actually more like the hibernation hormone. It's more associated with lower energy expenditures and the initiation of hibernation in animals over a long, stressful winter. Pharmaceutical companies will do their marketing to make it serotonin as a happy hormone, but that's for a whole other video. I do not want to get into that tangent right now. So track all those things, keep in mind exactly what's going on in your body so that you have those objective measures, so that when you make these changes, you're not just left in the dust being like, well, what did something happen? Did I actually improve? Like, maybe I feel better, maybe I don't, I'm not really sure. Now you have these numbers, you have the morning temperature, you have the heart rate, you have your strength in the gym and your body weight, you have your sleep, libido, your focus, you have all of that stuff, and your well-being figured out, tracked, making sure that you're following something that is going to improve all those things and make your entire life go from here to here. That's basically what we're trying to do. So that's all I got for today. Start tracking your temperature. Ideally, you want it to be 97.8 to 98.2 degrees Fahrenheit underarm right when you wake up. If it's in the 97s, it's a little bit low. If it's below 97, you probably need to do some work and get it back up. Heart rate should be in the 80s. If it's in the 70s, upper 60s, then that's mildly low. You might want to improve it. If it's down in the 40s, 50s, you definitely need to get that up. Same exact protocols you would for doing your body temperature. It's just that overall metabolism boosting. So hopefully that gave you guys some further steps to be taking. For the thermometer, just be like a $10 thermometer from Walmart, Walgreens or whatever. Just whatever. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I wouldn't go super low end just because you want it to be reliable. But at the same time, make sure that it's something, it doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be something that works. So I think mine's like 15 bucks or something like that. So yeah, get a thermometer, track, find out where you're at, start making improvements, and start elevating your metabolism and your life one day at a time. All right, that is it for me. I am out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions and if you want me to do a video about something else. I'd love to hear from you. I think that's all. Take the metabolism quiz if you haven't. Come on, I don't know why you haven't done that yet already. And that's all. Okay, bye. Peace.